Hey, what's up, guys? This is my OHP day, my overhead press day. For the upper body presses, the bench press has been the king for a while. It's been my primary exercise, my go-to exercise for a long time, and then the overhead press kind of took a back seat because of that. But now I'm giving them their own day again, and I'm going to try to bring them back up. As you'll see in a moment, my overhead press is a little bit on the poverty side right now. As I get closer to meet, the overhead press will again take a backseat to the bench press. But in the meantime, in the off season, I'm just going to work hard on them and try to progress with them. From a physique and strength balance viewpoint, for the upper body, I think it's important to have a vertical push movement to go along with your horizontal push movement, and also a horizontal pull and vertical pull movement in your program at all times as well, just to keep everything balanced out. You can build the bench press using only the bench press, especially if you're advanced, but for the beginner and for the intermediate, I think it's a good idea to just work on increasing general strength and size overall, and it's helpful to use other tools other than the bench press to help you achieve this. For cues, I like to focus on keeping my elbows pointing forward as much as possible for the bottom half of the movement, and then when the bar starts to pass my eyes, and I try to push my head through, then the elbows will start to flare out to the side. By doing it this way, I incorporate a lot more. I feel like I incorporate a lot more upper chest, especially at the bottom of the lift. You can actually experiment with this right now. With one hand in a pressing position, right, with your elbows to the side, press up and down, and then feel your upper pec with the other hand. Now do the same exact thing, but with the elbows pointing forward, facing forward, and then feel your pec move up and down, feel your pec, and you should see that the pec should be a lot more activated. And then when you flare your elbows out at the top, you're helping the bar go over your head and towards the midline of your body instead of out in front of you, out in front of your face. And then you'll also call in the medial delts as well to help out with the movement. I like to use a hip drive when I press. This is, I guess, the equivalent of leg drive during the bench press. I push my glutes forward, my hips forward, and squeeze them, and this helps me pop the bar off of my chest. I like to kind of do a pause at the bottom there. Also, by squeezing my glutes, I'm protecting my lower back. But if you can utilize hip drive, it's also important that you also tighten your abs as well, because if you tighten only the backside and leave the front side loosey-goosey, what you may find happen is that your body will bow excessively, and then you put your mid-back at risk, as well as turning the exercise into a standing incline press. This is also the reason why I like to look forward and not up, so that I don't lean back excessively. Moving on to a hand positioning tip that helps me. If you like to use a thumbless grip, and if you seat the bar deep into your palms like this, you're putting a lot of strain on the wrist, and you're also losing a lot of power this way. So if you just turn your hand, you rotate your hand a little bit so that the bar sits diagonally across your hand, across your palms, the bar will sit closer to being over your forearm on the pinky side, and this will take some strain off of your wrist and also help you transfer force to the bar more efficiently. And also by turning your hand a little bit, rotating your hand, it'll help with the flaring motion of the elbows that I talked about earlier. And here's an underside view. You can see that the bar is still being held securely in my hands, but on the pinky side, the bar is just a little bit more in line with the forearms. And then for a full grip, just make sure the bar is sitting over your forearms and you're not doing any weird bendy things. Moving on to the secondary exercise, which is close grip bench press. So now that I'm in the off season, I'm just using a lot more variations of the main lifts to help build up my strength and just work out any weaknesses. I like to grip the bar with the hands right next to the smooth portion. So for me, this is basically shoulder width, and any closer and my shoulders will be forced to move into like a weird position, and I'll get all sorts of snap, crackle, pop action. But anyways, I'm not tucking my elbows hard because I'm not using this as solely a tricep exercise, but more of a variant of the competition style lift. So I'm basically doing the same thing as my regular bench, but with just more range of motion because of the closer grip. The close grip bench is typically thought of as a tricep exercise, but I think it's a great chest exercise as well because the grip is closer, so the elbows end up going a little bit deeper past the midline of the body, and this stretches the pecs a little bit more and actually gives them more range of motion to work through. So I think the close grip bench is a great way to build power out of the bottom of the lift as well as lockout strength. And I guess you can kind of say it's the same idea as the deficit deadlift. I did 4 sets of 6 with pauses and leg drive and arch and everything. Again, doing the same thing as my regular bench, just with a mechanical disadvantage with a closer grip. Same idea as the high bar versus low bar squats. Then after that, I did some incline pressing with dumbbells. I like to try to get a deep stretch on these on the bottom and not pause. Like I said in my previous video, for my accessory exercises, I like to keep them similar enough that they have carryover, but different enough that they fill in the gap. So I train all my barbell benching with a pause. So for the dumbbell presses, I don't pause. And in this way, I'm just covering all my bases. And by this point, even though the dumbbells were moving fine, I was just building up a lot of fatigue and lactic acid in my chest and getting all kinds of burning sensations. And check out this dismount here. 10 out of 10. One thing I'm going to start doing on my pressing days after my main lift of the day, I'm just going to start banging out some chin-ups or pull-ups in between my other lifts. And I don't want to do this during my main lift because I don't want it to interfere with it, but for the smaller lifts, I think it should be fine. I'm just going to try to have like a total rep goal for each workout and then try to increase it little by little. I think I can accumulate more volume and workload this way rather than just doing straightforward like 3 sets of 8 or whatever with weights. Then after chin-ups, I did these overhead tricep extensions with the rope attachment. And I used to do these like just pressing down, but I felt like I could cheat more that way, which may be fine to overload the triceps. But by doing them overhead this way, I really couldn't cheat, and it forced me to really isolate the triceps. And also, it gave like an insane stretch to the triceps. There's probably like a 4 or more rep difference between the two styles of using the rope attachment. It just makes it that much harder. Then for biceps, I like to do these incline curls. With the incline, sitting on an incline bench, it really makes it hard to cheat, hard to use English, body English, and also it just really gives a deep stretch for the biceps. And then after that, I hit up the medial delts with these side flies, side lateral flies, whatever you call them. And I like to point my pinkies out towards the ceiling and lean forward a little bit, and that helps me isolate the medial delt more rather than the front delts. And then things got a little bit freaky. It was around midnight, so I was training by myself at the gym. And then what you're seeing me do here is just a bunch more chin-ups, pull-ups, whatever. And then just a little quick physique update, aka G4P. Not that I really care about my physique at this point, but it's just interesting to see how your body develops as a side bonus of getting stronger. And as a power lifter, you want to be as dense with muscle as you can, within reason, going into a meet. You want to fill out your weight with as much muscle as possible. So I'm bulking right now, and I'm around 172 pounds. I'm just making sure I stay relatively lean and not spill over so much that I get fat. So abs are still visible, but far from being crisp and clean. Lighting is pretty bad here, but anyways, the idea is there. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you next time.